Now, for me, and I've said, how does it help readers? That really should have been in this slide, and I hope it's correct in your notes. How does reading aloud help teachers? Because one thing that it gives me as a teacher is a window on what the kids are doing. If I'm working with 2 or 3 children at one point in a small group, and I have individual children read aloud, I can see what they're doing with the words. I can see whether or not the children's ability to read a sentence improves when they paraphrase the sentence before it, or whether they can handle the word better, handle the sentence better, if they can visualise it. So the reading aloud gives me this real window. It allows me to see what the reader is doing, and reading silently doesn't do that at all. I don't get that from reading silently. I haven't got X-ray vision to see what's going on in the kids' heads. And it also, of course, helps me deal with misunderstandings that can come from the reading. Now, there are various types or various reading aloud activities that we can use, and all of these are appropriate for different purposes. The main one that I've been pushing, and that I'll be pushing today, is the interactive one. And that's where I'm wanting the children to learn these actions, to learn the strategies, to learn how to act on the text. And this is the interactive reading aloud, where I'm having someone read aloud, I'm getting someone else, as I said, to paraphrase it, someone to visualise it. We read 2 or 3 sentences. What do we know now? What questions can we answer? All of that is the interactive reading aloud. I'm wanting the students to really act on the text in certain ways, to learn how to do that. A second type of reading aloud is really not where I'm focusing on the strategies as such, but I'm wanting to build fluency in the children's reading. And I'll be looking at having them really focus on not reading monotonously, but learning how to intone or intonate. The technical word is prosody. Look at how they're using sound properties of sentences to communicate. So if they're wanting to, if they read a sentence that is a question, that at the end of it they do go up. What do you mean by that? As opposed to, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So, having the students really learn how to read for different purposes by varying their intonation. Now, it's not only me wanting to have individual students learn how to do that when they read, but I'm wanting the students to learn what those intonation patterns mean. One of the main causes of minor discipline problems in secondary schools is children not understanding a particular aspect of oral language called the pragmatics of language, or the purposes for which language is used. And we often communicate our goals, what we'd like as teachers, and also as individuals. We communicate our intention, where we're wanting to go, not only through the words we use, but also through how we say them. I mean, you all know, I can say, sit down, please, or sit down, please, or sit down, please. And if I say, sit down, please, I'm really meaning business. That's beyond, sit down, please. Now, a lot of kids don't know how to respond to that. They don't know what that means. They haven't learnt how to use those things. And one way in which we can get at it efficiently is through reading. Through the children learning how to manage the ways in which we can communicate our purposes through intonation, through reading. And I would be really pushing that, particularly in the early secondary levels, that the students do know how to use intonation. Those sort of, I don't think anyone here is as old as me as a teacher. When I first trained as a teacher, we actually had elocution lessons. We did. Did anyone else have elocution as a teacher? as well as learning how to use, and I trained as a secondary teacher. In the mid-60s, there was a tutor at Monash who you would be directed to for elocution, for lessons in how to speak. That's probably really important for students to know how to handle this, and for teachers to know how to do it. The third reading activity is where we scaffold the students' reading with a better reader. And I've said there it's called paired reading or shared reading. There's a whole lot of other names that are given to this. Sometimes NIM, neurological imprint method, neural impress method. There's a whole lot of terms that are given to it. Basically, what you do is you sit with a child or one or two children. You all look at the text. You all at least the fluent reader starts off reading ever so slightly more slowly than usual, and the other people try to read at the same pace. And over a period of 5 or 10 minutes, if the text is at the independent reading level of the children, and you can tell that from the words the children can read automatically, if the text is appropriately structured, then the children will gradually come in and take control over the reading. And you speak more softly and gradually withdraw. The idea is that you're again inducing in the readers the feedback that efficient readers would be getting automatically. So they're saying and they're hearing and they're sometimes often pointing with the words at the same time. And this shared reading or paired reading is very important for children who have learnt the strategies and are just needing to practice them. You know, just needing to get more efficient, more automatic with using the various strategies. But particularly important when you're wanting to build fluency. Now, it may be in any of your schools at Year 8, there's a group of children who would benefit from this sort of activity. Just briefly, reading through science text, reading through SOS text, just reading with a model, with someone modelling the reading aloud. And of course, it doesn't do any harm for a lot of children. The next type of reading is solo reading. Is where the child reads by themselves. And the way we've done this in the past, because of the circumstance in which I've been working, we've had the children read onto an audio tape for 10 minutes. For several years, I ran a program where, both at Melbourne Uni and when I was at Victoria College at Burwood, the same thing, where we had children who had reading difficulties coming into the uni, once a week, and we used it as a way of training special ed teachers. The children often didn't do any practice between the two sessions when they came in. And so we brought in this program where the children had to read onto an audio tape for 10 minutes each night. And when they came in the following week, they'd bring in the audio tape, and I'd certainly want to know if there was, say, 40 or 50 minutes of reading on it. I'd listen to bits of it, and I know the person working with them would as well. And really, the reason why we used the audio tape was just so that the children would get underway with the reading altogether. And it was like what we actually did at Judy's school, because it was possible, and Judy, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it was possible at that school at that time for some children to go through a day without reading. Because if I as a teacher had them read, I'd be discriminating against some of the kids. But the only way we were going to improve reading was by having the kids read aloud. That's why we brought it in the first place. And that's the reason for this solo reading, where the children read onto a tape, or they just read aloud for 10 minutes and practice reading it. Usually, you want them to read, again, text that they select, text that's at their independent reading level.